All right. Well, man, I appreciate you getting together as we do, week on week, having some fun here.
Absolutely.
But today's topic, I figure let's explore some questions that we hear during interviews. Some top ones. Because, one, they're great questions, but two, you don't want the first time you hear an interview an interview question to be in the interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that just blindsides you, and then at that point you're doing the. That's a great question. Yeah, when you do that, you're buying time. They know it. You look up to the left, you're lying. It's a whole thing. So
they see right through that.
So I say we pull up maybe the top 10 top interview questions. Let's just talk through them a little bit. Maybe not answer them directly, but start getting that thinking going for how to answer these questions.
Yep, absolutely. Especially for people who haven't done a lot of interviews, it can be a challenging situation there.
A lot of people, when I talk to them about exploring other career opportunities, this is just a straight terror moment of them. Like,
absolutely.
Oh, I hate interviews. And I ask, why do you hate your interviews? You're going to talk about your favorite subject. You.
Yeah, that's my favorite subject.
Yeah. All right, so I believe you have a list for us here,
I
man?
do.
All right, let's go here.
Yep. It looks like the number one interview question, which I think we probably could have guessed this one, is tell me about yourself. Okay, and this really, I guess it's not really a question, but it's more of a statement. But just asking you to tell the individual about yourself. I think this one, a lot of people get lost in the details. And they don't realize that they actually don't care about, your high school flower project, right? Like, they want to know a professional summary of who you are as a potential employee.
I'd say I like that professional summary, and then sprinkle in some high-level personal stuff. So if you're married, this is where you could say, hey, I've been married for 5 years.
Yep.
It's helpful if you then do a quick compliment towards your spouse to a wonderful woman, because then they know you already got a good spouse, so that's helpful for them.
Yep.
I've worked in the industry for a decade. XYZ, I've accomplished this, and this.
Yep.
And then toss in, I like a little spice, so toss in a random fun fact.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, I collect signed Frisbees by rock stars. Something, whatever. It's just there's a little nugget in there.
Yep.
Little sprinkle.
Absolutely. And I think really the point of this question is more of a break the ice question a lot of times, more than anything. Just to start the conversation, start the interview. Tell me about yourself. And one, I think something a lot of people keep in mind would be you give them a little 1, 2, 3 past, present, future.
I
So
like that.
this is what I did, in my past career. This is where I'm looking to go now, and this is where I want to be in 5 or 10 years or whatever. Just an easy way to keep your brain on track on what you're trying to tell them. But everything about that I think is good. It's an easy question that can really get overthought.
Yeah, don't go in with the,
my favorite color?
Yeah. When I was 6, I had a beautiful golden retriever. Okay, that's not where we're going here.
Fantastic statement. Not what we're looking for.
Correct. Yeah, so don't get bogged in the details. Just high-level stuff and just a little sprinkle. Sprinkle in there.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is, why do you want to work here? And personally, and I guess / what you know about the company. I've never been asked, what do you know about our company? But I guess that could be top on the list. But essentially, why do you want to work here? And I personally don't like this question. I think it's a loaded question.
I think you're probably right. But I actually think that your initial thought on this one was, it's basically, tell us what research you've done on the company.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot better than the general answer of, well, I want money. Okay, well, you can do anything for money. So, but why do you want us to be the ones to give you the money? What makes us special? If you're at a large Fortune 500 company, Brag about the company. Say how
Yep.
much you love it. Years ago, I interviewed for a job at Chipotle. I wore a custom Chipotle limited edition soccer jersey to the interview. They didn't hire me.
Bro was pulling hard for
Dude,
that job.
I'm like, I'm a shoo-in. I bought a jersey. Oh, man. I was stoked. They didn't hire me. That's okay. I'm
Rough.
still a fan. Still a fan.
See, he might have gotten hired if he knew the answers to these questions.
Yeah. That was my problem.
No, I don't like this question because I think it's a little bit loaded because the answer is always because you check the most boxes or the most convenient boxes for what I'm looking for in a job. Like that is the answer. But they're loading it with a what do you know about the company and why. They're looking for your reasoning for coming to the job. That's what they're looking for. And I think it presents an opportunity for you to answer the question and just brag on the company's highlights.
And I think you should. I think before you walk into an interview, open your phone,
Yep.
Google top 10 things about XYZ company if you happen to be lucky enough to know who you're interviewing with.
Yep.
Do a little quick research. Hey, I wanted to join the company. It's been here 85 years. And, in prep for this interview, I saw you've been here for 2. What do you like about the ask a question back just a little bit. But yeah, why do you want to work here?
Yeah. And just the easy way to answer that question is just brag on whatever company you're interviewing for. If you're interviewing to go work at a tire shop, be like, oh, well, your guys' is number 38 in the NASCAR race car, and that was my favorite car when I was a kid, and you guys won the race or whatever, or my grandpa always brought his cars here or whatever. And you're not actually really answering the question per se, but you are.
Yeah, and
it's
you
not
want
a
to be
hard
part
thing
of
to
that.
think about. You're just bragging on the company. Oh, you guys are the biggest one in town, and you guys do whatever.
Yeah, and I want my name associated with your name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to answer that. What I consider to be a loaded question.
Number 3.
Number 3, what are your greatest strengths? Which ties into number 4, which is what are your greatest weaknesses?
Now, I have a little bit of a joking streak to myself here. This is not the area probably to say my bench press, all right? Now, if you're just trying to see if they're going to laugh with you, then absolutely, just go for it. Say, oh man, I squat like all the weight.
I feel like you really got to read the room on that answer because you're taking a bold step there.
Look, sometimes in the interview, you go from being memorable, all right?
I mean, yeah, it's, you take a shot. And
Now, don't pull a Michael Scott here where you say my greatest strength is I'm way too committed. I love the company way too much. Though it also tends to be my greatest weakness is I love it all too much.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, do your best to say your strength is what are you good at? Just say what do you think you're the best at? Are you great at numbers? Hey, I'm really good with numbers. I'm great with words. I'm good with people. I'm good with avoiding conflict. I'm good with managing conflict. Find something you're good at and just say, don't go into a massive detail. You don't need to just yet. But and then on the weakness side, in corporate America, they hate the word weakness. So they always say area of opportunity. So maybe not what is your greatest weakness?
What do you suck at? That's what they want to know.
Oh, yes. And if you just say that to them, if you can get someone to crack a laugh during an interview, that's such a good sign.
Yes, but the worst part about that is if you make the joke and then they don't laugh, you're done. You just get up and walk out because you're done.
That'd be so rough.
But,
oh, man.
No, I think this one, is a don't overthink it. Don't try to over-apply your skills to the job. We'll go back to the tire shop. Like, if you've never worked a day in your life at changing tires, don't be like, oh, man, well, I'm great with wrenches and tools and whatever. because you probably aren't. Don't oversell yourself. But what you can do is you can not overthink it and just sell what you are good at, which might be, I'm great at tinkering on things, right? I always grew up, I was mechanically inclined, I did robotics when I was in high school, whatever it is, XYZ thing. Don't try to oversell yourself specific to the company if that's actually not your strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't overthink it. Tell them what you are good at that can apply to the position you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. And if you happen to say, well, I'm great at tinkering, be able to provide a small 15, 20-second follow-up on that. Because I would say, oh, tell me about that. Just be prepared for that small one there. But for the area of opportunity, be prepared with an answer. So, for instance, maybe you truly just hate dealing with the public.
Right.
It's maybe you're such a numbers person. You're like, look, I can't deal with new people and all that all the time. Just say, it's really not my area dealing with this particular subset of person. Like, I'm not great. You don't want me being the face of your company, but you want me running your numbers.
Yeah.
Just be open about it, because you do not want to spend all this time, get hired into a position that you knew you were going to hate, and they could have found a better place for you if you just told them, hey, I'm not good at this. I don't want to be good at this, and here's my other strength.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be careful not to pull yourself in a direction that you're really not naturally good at or something like that, and then try to sell it like you are. I would just actually sell what you are good at, even if it's not like the number one thing they're probably looking for.
Right. Number 5.
Well, before we go to number 5, I want to make one last point on number 4, which is, what is your greatest weakness?
Okay.
Because I think they're always going to ask this question in some form. And that is, obviously don't pick something that's like super detrimental to the job. Like, if you're going into a job that's customer facing, don't be like, I can't talk to people, because that probably is going to shoot you in the foot. But what I will say is, don't over-explain this. I find myself doing it, and I've seen videos or clips or whatever, and a lot of examples of people doing this, which is where they're trying to provide an answer that shows how there was a lack of skill before, you overcame it, or whatever, a weakness that you had and how you resolved it or whatever. But then they'll spend like an exorbitant amount of money trying to sell it as not really a weakness. And then it just looks kind of awkward, because it's like, you don't want to admit you're bad at something, but you're trying to make it look like you're really not, and you spend way too much time on it.
Yes. Also, this is not the area, generally speaking, to admit that you have a massive drug problem. Just saying, if your greatest weakness is the spirit's called to me and his name's Jack and Johnny, no, this is not the time to talk about that. That comes up later. But I wouldn't lead with that here, unless you're like, well, I'm in recovery and I used to. Okay, so that one you can flip.
I don't even know that I would. I'd probably go to like, I cut my fingernails too short or something like.
Oh, that's kind of miserable.
I don't know that I would be like, yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I might just like leave that one.
You might
for
leave that one
later.
Out? Okay, got it. That's a let them discover situation.
Yeah, maybe stick with that.
Okay. All right.
But no, yeah,
that was a solid point though. You had a solid point.
Yeah,
there.
be quick, concise. Give them a non-critical item that shows that your ability to overcome lack of skill or weakness or whatever you want to call it, and then just move on. Even if you didn't do a great job of explaining it, or it made you look bad, just move on. Don't dwell on it.
Yep.
Number 5, why should we hire you? What makes you unique? Kind of in the same slash there. Why are you the best fit for what they're looking for?
So this seems a little more general. This is a little more specialized. This is probably and I say this with all respect for warehouse workers, this probably is not a warehouse working position. This might be a management in warehouse. Because if the job is just labor, we all know the places where it's just get your foot in the door. They don't really care who does it.
Right.
That is not this kind of a question.
Nope.
This is probably a little more specialized. What gives you your edge over there? This is where you could take that extra moment to brag on yourself.
Yeah.
I went and got XYZ certificates. In my spare time, every 2 weeks, I go and I practice X, Y, and Z. This is where what gives you the edge in the industry.
You'd find this question in, like, say you're applying for a high-level insurance sales position, right? They're going to want to know why they should hire you versus this other guy. You're both working sales. Why should they hire you over this fellow right here? And you're exactly right. It's a fantastic time to sell exactly your greatest attributes, and not just what are my strengths, but like the niche, what you're really good at. If you're fantastic at, communication skills, sell that. If you're fantastic at problem solving or conflict resolution or whatever, sell what you're good at and make it apply to the position you're looking at. You don't have to have 30 years in sales to sell yourself in sales. You can come from a different background, and if you're good at interviewing, you can take this question of why we should hire you or what's your niche, unique item here, and you can sell what you're really good at and just apply it to the position you're looking at.
And maybe you have a personality trait that is different than the standard. So, for instance, I'm high energy. I wake up way too early in the morning. So by the time I get to work, I've been up for 3 to 4 hours.
Yep.
So it's basically lunchtime for me. I walk in, I'm high energy. Hey, everybody, how we doing today? I'm here.
Yep.
And I need to bring it down. But that is, hey, I keep things really positive no matter the situation, because we have to have a positive mentality for X, Y, and Z. This is where you can brag without bragging.
Right.
Because you're actually being invited to talk about some of the wonderful things about you and that you've done. So following up with that. I like that.
And I would be careful. This is probably not the time to just recite from memory your basic qualifications.
No, this is not basic now.
Okay. This really actually is like you're almost selling yourself. You're selling yourself here, right? So you got to actively use the technique of selling for you as a person. It's not I just did 2 years doing this and I got this certification and I can use a computer and I have a reliable form of transportation and I graduated high school. Like it's not just basically list off your basic qualifications. This is sell you.
And let's take a small detour on that one right there. This is probably the question most people have a hard time with. This is number one, because they don't believe in themselves.
Absolutely.
This is where there's a fine way to fake it till you make it. Sometimes you got to speak it into existence. Not a full name it, claim it situation, but on the road there. You got to believe in yourself enough to get you there. And sometimes you just got to talk yourself up. You got to, look in the mirror like an Evan Almighty, look in the mirror. I'm successful, I'm powerful, I'm handsome, I'm happy. I'm successful, powerful, handsome, and happy. And you just say it again and again until you believe it, all right? Yep. Because that's who you want to be. And sometimes you're just saying the truth ahead of schedule.
Well, and we said previously, be careful not to oversell yourself. But equally as true, don't undersell yourself. This is your opportunity to shine. Don't waste it being timid in explaining who you are and what you're capable of.
Number 6.
Number 6. Tell me about a time you faced a challenge, conflict, or failure. And, this is a It's also a time to sell yourself, but it's more of they want to see your problem-solving skills. They want to see a situation where you had a difficult task or item or challenge and how you overcame it. They want to see. I really think this question is about critical thinking, and because they're looking to see if you have a situation offhand that you can provide where you actively thought through the process of overcoming a challenge. You didn't just go to your boss and have your boss fix it for you. You had a difficult situation and you fixed it, you overcame it, you resolved it, etc. I think that's what they're after here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They want to see what happens when you hit a wall.
Absolutely.
Or you stumble a bit. Do you just give up and cry and say, I'm done, and you throw it to your boss or throw it to someone else? Or do you say, I went to my boss and asked how he would help direct me on how to do this. Mm-hmm. I went and did some online research. I reached out to someone else who had successfully done it or had been in a similar situation. They want to see what you do when you hit a no or you hit a block. Mm-hmm. It's all about, like you said, it's just the problem solving and how you handle basically a failure of some sort or something difficult.
Yeah, it's how you operate as an employee. It's how you operate as an individual. It's it's a question on how you go through the process of critical thinking and problem solving. They want to know how good you are at that, and if you're going to be an employee that just passes the buck or can take the problems, deal with it, and resolve them. That's what this question's about. So I think a good way to answer it is, number one, have an example on hand. When you walk into the interview,
this question is definitely
this
coming.
question almost always comes up, and you're going to look stupid if you can't think of an example. Or if you do think of an example and it's a bad example. Almost short of making something up, don't walk into that room without an example in your mind.
Yeah, we've all had some kind of challenge in our life. Just use it. Just get it summarized beforehand so you got the quick lines on it, and have something. Don't make it up or say, wow, actually this is the most challenging thing I've ever done here. My life is just that smooth. That's also not what they want to hear. Yeah, have an example.
Yeah, and not I won a 37 burger eating contest, and I did it by smashing the burgers in my face and just going to town. 37
burgers?
I don't know. I just made that up.
So now I want to know what the world record is.
I'm sure it's a lot, but it needs to be an actual exemplary example. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, I
didn't even do it on purpose. Uh-huh. But no, a good example of some actual productive content. Mm-hmm. You want to think of a good situation that you come into.
I like it.
Number 7, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I've always had a problem with this question.
Really? I love this question.
See, because when I'm interviewing for a position, I don't know what 5 years is going to look like because I don't know if they're about to tell me yes or no. And if they tell me no, it's going to look vastly different.
See, I guess I've never thought of it that way. Okay. To me, and maybe this is just my personality, but for me, I always know at least somewhat of where I want to be going. Not always. I don't always have 100% plan of what this, and this. But in my mind, there's always a picture of where I'm trying to get to somewhere along the road, sometimes more than others. But to me, you just take that and you just circumnavigate it around whether or not you get the job or not. You just make it an either or, right? It doesn't have to be, for me, it's, if somebody asks me, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? Well, one, you can do the obvious of, I want to have a family or whatever. But if you just tell them I want to make it to the next step in my profession, whatever that might be. So that might be the job you're applying for, or the position after the job you're applying for, or whatever. If you're applying to be a car salesman, be in 5 years, I really want to be, making X amount of dollars selling cars, or I want to be a sales manager at the car dealership, or, I want to not only just know how to sell cars, but I want to learn the loan process and the back office side of it, or whatever. Or if you don't want to apply it to, like you said, if you're not going to get the job, if you don't want to apply it to that, then take the previous question that I just asked you of what's your greatest strength or why should we hire you, and just extend that out 5 years. If you just sold yourself on conflict resolution or expert communication skills, say, I want to be in a position where I feel like I'm fully utilizing expert communication skills, right? Or something to that degree. That's how I kind of answer that question. You have to make it specific to you. That's why I'm kind of being vague, because everybody's different and everybody has different goals. But if you take that question of what you're good at or your strengths and you just make that into a 5-year goal of expounding on that, whatever that might be for you, I think that's an easy way to answer this question without it being detrimental whether or not you get the job or not.
I like that. It turns it from a little bit of the vagueness of their answer to that their answer is not entirely irrelevant, but it mostly is. Because regardless of where they say you're going, you know where you're going. So you have the vision despite them. I like that.
And also, if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, this might be the time for you to sit down and figure that out
before they ask
the
you.
interview.
Yes.
If you're like, I don't know, man, I'm just living life.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably be another 50 pounds heavier. By that point, I will have gone through another 35,000 bags of Cheetos.
Oh,
It's not the right answer.
No, that's not the right answer. If you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, at least come up with a rough idea of where you want to be in 5 years before you go into the interview. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think that's an easy way. Just further expounding upon your strength, and then you can apply that to some occupation, hobby, skill, whatever. So, number 8. We're on number 8. Tell me about a time you worked under pressure or met a tight deadline. See, this kind of seemed like a copycat of the time you faced a challenge. But I guess met a tight deadline, you're working under pressure, I guess is what they're seeing how you handle high pressure.
High pressure, and I believe the slight nuance on this one is to work under pressure and with a tight deadline almost requires not just the game planning, but the laying out step by step of your next exact moments. So I think this is more of a show me the details that you used to accomplish XYZ goal. Not just who did you talk to, but what is that next phase there. I listed all out on an Excel spreadsheet. I like to do 15-minute sprint sessions. I like to do XYZ item here, and I kept my head down to a complete, however you do it in that sprinting moment.
Give them a metric of what you use for your high pressure situation. It doesn't have to be something fancy, whatever, but just, give them something to work with on how you handle high pressure situations. And everybody has a high pressure situation that they've been in. Just give them something to work with on how you handled it specifically. And you can easily just play off the last question if you've had that question asked already, or if you haven't, you can do the same thing, kind of what we talked about before, and just play the similar answer to that question. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing of a problem or high pressure. They're looking to see your critical thinking skills.
Yep.
With this. Mm-hmm. So, number 9, why are you leaving your current job?
Now, you'll notice a very important implication in this one. It's that you currently have a job.
I did not. That's not where I was going with that.
No,
But yes.
statistically, it's so much easier to get a new job if you already have a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this one, please. Now, if this is your first time having a job, just say, this is actually my first job. And they'll be like, really? Because you interview so well. That's kind of shocking. Thank you for starting with us. Mm-hmm. But why are you leaving your current job?
Yes. And I think, number one, you can't help it if you've never had a job before, but you can help it. Do not badmouth the company you're coming from.
No.
Even if you hate it so much, you hate their guts, you want nothing to do with them, it's the worst, don't badmouth them in the interview.
Correct. And can I give an example here? So, instead of saying the company blows, they cheat and steal, I can't stand going there.
They won't pay me what I want.
They
make me work weekends.
Mm-hmm. Go with, I was looking at my future and looking at those next 5 years, and I realized I really do not want to. The path they had me on is not one that I thought was going to be fruitful in the long term. So we're looking to make a change.
That position didn't offer me the opportunities that I needed to be successful.
Ooh,
that's
right
what you answer that question with.
Yep, because that doesn't say anything bad about your other manager or other boss. It's just, hey, we get it. We all know a particular position that's not going to fit in with people.
Yep.
That it's ambiguous. It's ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Yes.
Ambiguous, and it also says that you're thinking about the future.
Absolutely.
And now you also believe that future is possible with this new company.
Yes, absolutely. It's a perfect way to sell. My last company, I felt like I couldn't really grow anymore, or I had kind of capped out, or maybe just as simple as, this didn't fit with my 5-year goal or whatever. But be careful that if they ask, you're able to explain why the new job does.
Correct.
And it doesn't have to be extensive or complicated or whatever, but just don't set yourself up for a question you can't answer.
Right. Yeah. Be truthful, but still don't badmouth the company. Just say, look, the 5-year goal, that particular path I was on, unfortunately, the next cap up, they weren't going to hire anyone new for it for about 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to move. I've been at a company where the majority of the people in the department were there for retirement.
Yeah.
And they were still 10 to 15, 20 years from retirement. But that's what that department kind of did. I was very young. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that position right now. They're not going to open it up for years. So end up making a shift. Nothing bad against them. They were very kind. But it just wasn't the right fit at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can, another great example there would be, hey, I'm, the position I'm coming from, I kind of felt like didn't really offer me any further growth opportunities, and I'm really looking to learn this new skill, this new whatever, and it can be the job you're applying for.
Absolutely.
So, or a job that you could get at the new position, right? So it's, I really want to learn, grow. I don't want to just become complacent. And I felt like I really didn't have that opportunity there. I think you guys are offering me this, a fantastic opportunity to further my career, further my skill set, etc. I think that's a good way to say that's why I'm leaving where I'm at, and sell why you want to work where you're working or you're applying to.
I like it. Number 10.
Number 10, do you have any questions for us? Which some people think this is more critical than others. I really don't think this is a overly big deal.
I think this is your opportunity. I'll put it this way. Not having a question may not count against you, but having the right question definitely counts for you.
Yes, but I would also say having the wrong question can hurt you too.
Yes, having no questions doesn't take away. But if you have the wrong question, that's how quickly can I fire people? Okay, Wrong question.
Or you just had a fantastic interview and then you're like, oh yeah, like what do you guys pay again? Brother.
He did so close, so close.
Like, don't ask that at the very, just like, oh yeah, what are the hours again? Don't ask that.
That's not the time to go reread it.
Yeah.
Reread the job description.
Yeah.
Some good ones that I've heard is, assuming this interview went well and you guys offered me the job, a year from now, looking back, what would you guys have, what would I would have needed to accomplish or to have you guys been happy with the hiring of me? Something along those lines.
Yeah. And kind of playing off that, an easy answer to this question, if you don't have a better one, is just, hey, you know, I felt like this was a really good interview. If you guys don't end up going with me, what would you have liked to have seen me have to offer that maybe I don't? Because A, that makes them tell you if there was anything they didn't like about the interview. That way you can learn and know that for the next time. And B, it kind of sets yourself up as the kind of guy that's looking to continually grow and improve. It gives you a good persona, I guess, if you'll say.
It's live feedback.
Yeah, it's an easy question that is easy to remember.
Mm-hmm. Or what is 2 or 3 characteristics of the most successful person in this position at the company?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or again, it can be as simple as clarifying an ambiguous term in the position. You know, if you're not certain, like, oh, you know, you guys listed that, you know, you do this. Does that apply to this portion of this, you know, industry, or you know, a detailed item that can make you look like you really were paying attention to the job description or something like that.
I would also toss in, what do you like most about the company? I like that one.
See, I'm not opposed to those, but I'm hesitant to ask anything personal of the interviewer.
Okay.
And here's why. And I could be wrong on this, but this is just a personal opinion. If the interviewer is someone who's just doing a job, right? They're like, their job is HR. They're tasked with hiring someone. They're looking to say, okay, is he a good fit or is he not a good fit? And then you start asking them like personal questions that make them think and get like personal with their experience in the company. I just feel like maybe that's not the best vibe. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But I personally probably wouldn't ask a question like that.
I could see that going both ways, because if they're just in a job, you know, just clocking in, punching out kind of thing, they don't give a rip what your answers are anyway.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one.
The last thing I would want to do is make them awkward or uncomfortable by not knowing the answer to my question. Mm-hmm. Because even if you're right or they should have known the answer, making them look stupid is never going to go well for you.
Right.
So that's just why I would hesitate from a question like that. Again, I could be wrong. Some people might have great luck with that question. But
now, those are the top 10 interview questions.
Yes, they are.
Now, what would be just 1 or 2 questions, I think we should each pick a couple, that we would either like to ask in an interview, like if we're the interviewer, or that should be asked that it wasn't included there? Maybe something off the wall. Or
of the interviewer to the person being interviewed?
Yep, a question you should be prepared for.
I guess I'm not sure what you're saying.
So, like, if I was writing number 11.
Oh, okay.
Number 12.
Okay. So,
I'll start with one, because I like to go a little off kilter with these, because these are the standard 10. There's about 20 standard ones that we could all just come up with, and they're all the same exact question.
Yeah.
Basically, tell me about you. Tell me about your struggles. Tell me about the time you overcame everything. Tell me about how you deal with problems, blah, blah. It's all basically the same exact question. Mm-hmm. I like a little bit different. I see you have a wedding ring on. How would your spouse describe your work ethic? Something right there just makes you think different. What would your old boss say if they were writing a recommendation for you here? Something a little different. You know, you can go all the way to, if you were an animal, what would you be? You know, just something a little.
I
funny.
would not ask that question.
If you really wanted to get hyped up before an event, what would you do? You know, oh, I turn on Fallout Boy and I put on big headphones. You know, something.
Yeah.
Just to see some personality, because some jobs you hire for the skill, and some jobs you hire for the personality, knowing you can teach the skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I see some nuance there.
So this one could be a little bit tricky, and I'm thinking, and maybe I'm not thinking about this correctly, but I'm thinking about this from the standpoint of if I was hiring someone and I'm looking for the best possible fit for the job, and it varies depending on your industry, so this may not apply, but the exact wording of the question may differ, whatever, but the goal I would be trying to ask is, A, are you better at the skill that you know, or being able to learn and grow? And if I were to flip your job tomorrow, would you care? And basically what I mean, that's why I said the wording may be a little bit different. But basically what I'm getting at is, am I hiring you for one specific task or skill, or am I hiring you because you're the type of person that's going to be a fantastic employee and a fantastic addition to my team that can learn, adapt, grow, and improve and overcome problems? Or am I solely hiring you because you have 37 years of experience in punching numbers? Because if it's me doing the hiring, and this is mostly from personal experience, and my field might be a little bit different than other people's, but if I'm going to hire somebody who has 10 years of experience and a really good attitude and work ethic, or someone with 30 years of experience but a horrible work ethic and attitude, I will always choose the person with less experience and a better work ethic, because I am a big proponent of the idea that you can teach someone to do almost anything, but you cannot teach someone work ethic. You cannot teach mentality. That's something that has to be acquired in one way or another, but you cannot, in a professional, occupational manner, it's not something you can teach.
You can't teach hunger. You're
Yes.
hungry or you're not hungry.
And how you ask the question specifically to get them to answer that would vary. But for me, that's one of the most critical things I'm looking for in an interview is, what type of person are you? What's your mentality? What's your work ethic? Are you going to show up and chase it even if you don't know it? Or are you going to show up, expect to be walked on eggshells around because of your experience, and have no desire to learn or grow or adapt? Because I'd always want the individual who's willing to learn and grow. And some people will disagree with me. Some people out there, they want the experience, that's it. They want the top guy for the job, and that's it. That's all they care about. And that's fine. But I will always believe that you can't teach mentality. So anyway, a little long-winded on that one, but
I like that answer though. No, you're just trying to find out who are you. That's it. All comes back to, tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Except it's a little more poignant. So practical steps for our watchers here. Play the video from the beginning. After we ask each question, quick pause, try to answer it.
Yep, absolutely.
And then hear us talk. Number 2, just go through them and until you're comfortable. And this also, in case you need a little pep beforehand, ask someone else who you trust to talk you up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I have some friends who are applying for different positions. They're doing interviews, etc. And a lot of us have negative self-talk. Mm-hmm. But they tell me they're doing that. They're like, it's not going well. I'm like, really?
Yep.
Because what I see when I look at you, and then I just praise them up and down. I'm saying all their accomplishments, what they've overcome, why they'd be great employees, why they'd be great maybe business owners in the future, but the best things about them. And by the end, they're like, well,
I actually am pretty good.
You know what? I need to be asking for more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to hype yourself up a little bit. You know, the real goofy thing, and I've done this at probably most every interview I've ever gone to. You arrive at the place early, and hopefully you're more than 15 minutes early, so you can, if they have a public restroom, go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Not to go to the bathroom. Go stand in the stinking stall and make a Superman pose for 20.
What?
Yes, absolutely. 20, 30 seconds. Statistically, it will go ahead and raise your testosterone levels, and you'll have a better interview, and you're going to think you're goofy for doing it, but you feel better because you're either laughing or you feel more confident. And it just stinking works. It's so funny.
I don't
but
endorse
it works.
this idea.
I 100% endorsement. You know who endorses it? Superman. All right, Superman endorses this idea.
I can just imagine walking into to the workplace bathroom and just seeing some random dudes just hit the Superman pose. And you're like, what are you doing?
Dude, I don't even need to interview that guy. I'm hiring him. So, please, before your next interview, or just, you want to just talk to yourself a little bit, do this. This was a fun exercise back and forth. We didn't give our specific answers because we're not the ones on an interview right now.
Yep.
But this can actually be a lot of fun.
Yep.
This can be a lot of fun. So.
Yep. And I think
I like it.
For one last piece of advice that I would give anyone going into an interview is just be confident. I think if you were to ask most people, the
I'm just over here
You're
Superman
ridiculous.
posing.
The biggest thing people struggle with in an interview is, I'm not good at talking to people. I'm just not good at talking. And that usually stems from a lack of confidence. But even if it doesn't, go into your interview confident but relaxed. Even if you are good at talking to people, you will always be better at conducting that interview if you're relaxed but confident. And it's impossible to do. Your nerves are off the charts. You're stressed out. You're anxious. I get it. But if you can get into that interview and you can just take a breath and just have a calm conversation with the individual and just somehow try to not let the anxiety run all over the place, you will have a much better interview, even if you're not as qualified.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you go in there confident but collected and calm and relaxed, you will do far better than an individual who has all of the skills and expertise but cannot do the interview because they're stressed out, they're anxious, they're fidgety, they're twitching, they're shy, they don't know how to answer the question because they can't focus. Take a few minutes, whatever you got to do. Walk into that interview calm but confident.
I like it. And practice. Just practice.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. That really helps with the confidence.
Absolutely. So, good stuff, man. Good
I
stuff.
like it.